This is Newcap News with Michaela Henschel.
Good evening. The Lloydminster Hospital will soon be home to a helipad that allows helicopter rescue services easy access to the border city. Today, our Brittney Matejka got an update on construction and an idea of when it'll be functional.
Work has been ongoing for months and the concrete surface is now complete. Next up will be painting, landscaping, and the installation of fences and lighting, which they expect to finish by the end of August.
At the end of that construction process, then our consulting company that designed the heliport will come in, do their initial inspection to make sure it meets code and all the Transport Canada guidelines. Once they think that's done, Transport Canada will come in, and so that's outside of our control. But we're hoping, that September, October, we should be wrapping these things up.
The addition of the helipad right at the hospital will save an estimated 40 minutes of transport time, which is valuable when moving patients in and out of Lloyd or in the event of an emergency.
Currently, when we come into Lloydminster, we land at the airport and we have EMS come out, pick up our team and transport them into the hospital. Certainly, anytime we can access our patient in a more timely fashion, that's what we're looking to do. So that's the benefit of helicopter emergency services, that we can land anywhere, and having an incredible helipad like this right outside the door of the hospital is going to mean better, quicker access to patients.
Boundary Ford is donating $50,000 towards the completion of the project. After the certification process, the helipad is expected to be operational late this year or early in 2019. Brittney Matejka, Newcap News.
Well, areas across the country experience a shortage of doctors in their communities. So do we have enough family physicians here in Lloydminster? In this week's Healthy Living, our Brittney Matejka takes a look at the number in our community.
Statistics Canada reports almost 15% of Canadians don't have a family doctor. And with the recent departure of a doctor in the border city, some residents may be looking for a new family physician.
To call the different clinics and ask about whether or not they're taking patients. Another way is to go onto the former Prairie North Health Region website, pnrha.ca. And look up the list that we try and keep up as to which clinics are accepting patients currently.
Graham Brown is with the Lloydminster Concerned Citizens for Senior Care Society and says, like many other communities, we have some challenges in not only recruiting, but also retaining doctors.
We need to really put some attention to how do we get them here? How do we make them part of the community? How do we get them so they feel comfortable and want to stay here?
Graham says this is an ongoing concern, especially for seniors. The topic is already on their September 4th meeting agenda and is up for much discussion.
I do believe that what we had a number of years ago, where we had a committee that was working on behalf of the community all the time for retention and recruitment, that should happen again. We need to find a way to get that put together.
McLetchie says they are trying to bring more doctors to the city and they aim to have approximately one physician for every 1,500 to 2,000 people.
A lot of communities, we continue to try and recruit physicians to Lloydminster. We recruited one very recently that started at the Border Medical Clinic. We're currently trying to recruit 2 more.
The 2 new doctors are set to arrive from England later this fall. It is not yet known when they'll be accepting new patients. Brittney Matejka, Newcap News.
Last week, 12 Lloydminster youth joined a pioneer trek through the Cold Lake area. They've since returned with some stories to tell. The 3-day trek saw 185 participants this year to honor the Mormon pioneers who trekked the West after being chased out of their land.
As we trekked, we were kind of replaying a few events that would have happened to the early pioneers who were trekking across the states. One of them was the one night a mob came and we had to pack up all of our stuff and move. Otherwise they would have potentially killed a few of us. Not really, but.
This was the girls' first participation in the trek, and the weather was not always friendly.
We had a flooded tent in it, and so it was kind of difficult because it's not really something that you can just clear out if it's a couple inches deep.
The treks that the Mormon pioneers had to embark on in 1846 led them to what is now Utah. Well, there's lots to take in at the Vermilion Fair over the weekend, and hockey fans in the Border City have a chance to see the Stanley Cup up close and personal. Here's Heather Klegus with the details in What's Happening.
The Vermilion Fair officially kicked off today with the huge parade, and you've got the opportunity to check out so many different things in Vermilion tomorrow and Saturday as well. Coming up tomorrow, that's when you can see the antique tractor pulls and the parade. They've also got the pony chariots, and they've got a lot of different shows. There's going to be horse shows, beef shows, team roping as well. And coming up on Saturday, they've got some great stuff for you. The modified tractor pull, they've also got the Alberta Mounted Shooters Final, plus a huge fireworks display to wrap things up on Saturday night. If you want to head out for the day, admission is $10. 6 and under, get in for free. Coming up on Tuesday morning, the whole family has the chance to get a close look at the Stanley Cup. Washington Capitals goaltender Braden Holtby, Stanley Cup champion, is bringing the cup to Lashburn coming up on Tuesday. It'll be at the CN Sportsplex from 9 until noon. You, the whole family, are invited to stop by, check it out, and we have heard that Braden will be signing a few autographs as well. We want to give you a chance to win a copy of Lorena McKennett's brand new album, Lost Souls. Included on this album is a song that pays tribute to veterans and the military as well, Breaking of the Sword. A lot of great music on this album, and if you'd like to win a copy, it's really easy. All you have to do is email your name and daytime phone number to tvcontests@newcap.ca. We want to say thanks to John at Universal Music Canada for setting us up with the music. And there's still time for you to pick up your tickets to be part of the Paradise Hills Summer Bash and see the Washboard Union live coming up on August the 11th. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
This is Newcap Sports.
Well, wind and rain continue to hit the Bud Miller tennis courts at inconvenient times this summer, but that hasn't slowed the growth of the sport. This past weekend's Border City tournament saw record participation numbers, and as Josh Ryan explains, that bodes well for the future.
Canceling Sunday's matches at the 4th annual Border City tournament would have been understandable given the rain in the morning. However, the players have gotten used to adverse conditions.
We still got the whole tournament done. Not like we had to cancel any matches. We crushed it all out in whatever time we had.
We can't play when the courts are wet, and it's been very, very windy. This isn't new. We have weather like this all the time.
The Tennis Association is already seeing the positive effects of having 2 additional courts as the tournament surpassed 30 participants for the first time.
Having more courts sure works out well for us in scheduling. We can get more matches in one day, and it sure makes it a lot easier.
The event was originally organized by the Filipino community years ago, a community who now dominates the local tennis scene.
I'm coming from Toronto, and even then, like a lot of the clubs that I would play at, some of the smaller clubs where it was like a public park, we were playing a lot of tennis out there too. Like, I don't know what it is with the Filipino communities. It's just tennis is a fun sport, I guess.
The extra courts will likely have a similar effect in a few weeks at the Paul Douglas tournament, the biggest event of the Lloyd tennis season.
We had to kind of cut things off there because we did not have enough court space. Well, this year we'll have the court space, so we'll increase the numbers on that tournament. Josh Ryan, Newcap Sports.
Well, exactly what is the benefit of testing your bulls? After all, you should know a good bull when you see one. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow meets a vet to get the answer.
Dr. Karen Wagner ranches with her family in Maple Creek. They have about 170 cow-calf pairs. She advocates that producers test their bulls.
You know, I like all the bulls, but based on their semen tests, I would use, with these 2 bulls, and those 2 bulls are still the ones that are standing in the corral.
That's a conversation Wagner was having with her dad. And in any relationship, you're always free to use information as you see fit.
A semen test is a pretty cheap insurance to make sure that you have a bull with the potential to breed cows.
She admits it could be hard on a producer to add more stages to the production process, especially in the middle of calving and even this spring when it was still cold. When it comes to semen testing, you're looking to get a result of at least 70% on your bull.
So, the concentration of the sperm, the motility of the sperm, and then the distribution of those defects. Certain defects can have more of an impact on fertility than other ones. So, looking at that number at the bottom of the page is useful, but it's not the be-all, end-all.
Wagner recommends testing every bull every year, but the test is a snapshot in time and there could be other factors stressing the bull.
This spring it was, in the southwest corner, I think it was like -30 with the wind chill the beginning of April when everyone was trying to calve. And we semen test a lot of bulls at that time of year. Normally it's beautiful and we're calving on grass. So, the weather itself can be a huge stressor on bulls, and that definitely affects their sperm production and their fertility. But, that's not the only stressful thing. It can be something like, you buy a yearling bull at a bull sale, bring him home, and you kick him out with all your bulls. That's a big stress.
Producers can use semen testing as a tool to identify bulls which may cause a reduction in fertility. Bulls may be categorized from satisfactory to questionable based on their score, but back to that conversation with her dad.
I guess we'll see in the fall how many cows are bred, and if there's cows that aren't bred, then I'll maybe say you should have listened to me.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.